Russia and Ukraine exchange prisoners as peace talks end without breakthrough. Ukraine and Russia have conducted a rare exchange of prisoners of war and civilians after 2 days of US-brokered peace talks in Abu Dhabi. A total of 157 Ukrainians, 7 of them civilians, and 157 Russian soldiers were returned home in the first such swap in 4 months. Russian, Ukrainian and US teams took part in the talks in the capital of the United Arab Emirates, with the main sticking points believed to be territorial concessions. Ukraine is under pressure to make and security guarantees for it to prevent further Russian attacks if a deal is agreed to end the 4-year war. No breakthrough has been reported. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the talks had not been easy and he wanted faster results. In a post on social media, Zelensky wrote that Thursday's prisoner exchange took place after a long pause, referring to the previous such swap last October. "We are returning our people home, 157 Ukrainians. Soldiers of the armed forces, National Guard, State Border Service, and civilians are also returning with the defenders. Most have been in captivity since 2012, the Ukrainian president said, pledging to bring back every single Ukrainian still in Russian captivity. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry said 157 of its POWs were returned by Kyiv. The ministry added that 3 Russian civilians illegally held were also handed back. They were residents of the western Kursk region, parts of which were occupied by Ukraine during its incursion in 2024-25. The talks in Abu Dhabi, the second round in recent weeks, are part of US President Donald Trump's efforts to end the war. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner have been leading the negotiations. The talks had been detailed and productive, Witkoff wrote on X, but added that significant work remains. The most difficult issue is territory, with Russia demanding that Ukraine cedes the rest of the eastern industrial region of Donbass that Moscow does not currently control. Another key sticking point is believed to be Kyiv's demand to get robust security guarantees from its European allies and the US. The trilateral talks began as Russia renewed its deadly attacks on Ukraine after a week-long pause that Trump had asked Russian President Vladimir Putin to observe as a fierce cold swept Ukraine. Moscow has been targeting the country's energy sector, leaving thousands of people without electricity, heating, and water in freezing temperatures. Channels of communication were suspended in 2021 shortly before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The Ukrainian president also said a large number of people were officially missing, meaning the total death toll is thought to be much higher. The New START treaty has limited the number of deployed strategic nuclear warheads for both countries. Russia's gains on the battlefield have forced Natalia to rebury her husband. Ukraine's leader says regions including Kyiv and Kharkiv are among those suffering the most from blackouts as a result of recent attacks. Copyright 2026 BBC. The BBC is not responsible for the content of external sites. Read about our approach to external linking. Subscribe to Neuron News and turn on notifications to stay updated with world developments instantly.